Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. What I wanted to do today, because we've got like Trials of Osiris changes coming around the corner. We've got the new competitive rank system, the divisions, right? And in preparation for that, what I wanted to do was, I know that a lot of players out there, myself included, do a lot of stuff in this game by themselves. Just solo queue, solo players. You like the freelance playlist when Trials is around, stuff like that. And even in survival, you go to the freelance playlist maybe. So for you solo players out there, what I wanted to do is unpack what I believe are the 5 biggest mistakes solo players make. So if you can learn to rein in all 5 of these things, you're going to be much more effective as a solo player. You're going to be more effective as a teammate. You're going to be of more value to your team when you go into these matches in the competitive divisions, Trials of Osiris, whatever it may be. So we want to take care of these 5 things so that you're in tip-top shape for next season. But before we get into this match, I gotta take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Outplayed. I cannot tell you how many times I've been gaming offline and off stream, and then something absolutely amazing happens. And it's one of those times where you look around desperately hoping someone, anyone, saw what happened, and there's not a soul in sight. Your shining moment evaporates into the ether and is lost to all human consciousness for all time. Don't let that soul-crushing experience happen to you. Outplayed is an app that saves you this grief by seamlessly recording your gameplay in the background and keeping only the moments you tell it to keep. You hit a headshot, Outplayed will record it. You get a team wipe, Outplayed saves the clip. Die in a hilarious way, getting plastered into a wall by a vehicle, hey, Outplayed will keep it. And then, when you're done with your session, you can just go in, find those great moments, and share them with your audience or your friends wherever on the internet they gather. Or you can splice all of those plays together into one highlight compilation and upload it as a montage using the editor. And since Outplayed services over 300 games with the roster constantly growing, you'll never have to know the pain of losing an amazing moment ever again. So use the links in the description to download Outplayed today and start sharing your favorite moments ASAP. Thanks again, Outplayed, for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to Destiny. Alrighty, so first up on our list of the top 5 mistakes that solos make in Destiny 2 PvP is indecision, or passive play. I always tell people that making a bad choice and committing to it is way better than making no choice at all. So you never want to be the thing that gameplay happens to. You want to have an active role in it, not always reacting to what's going on, but dictating the flow of the gameplay. A lot of times, just having a teammate in the mix with you is going to be extremely helpful, even if you're missing your shots. Just giving the enemies another target to split their focus is extremely useful. A lot of times, I'm able to secure a kill simply because my teammate was getting shot at, and it freed me up to make a push. So if you hear your teammates taking and receiving shots, don't just sit back and see if they win. Get involved. Look at what they're shooting at and shoot with them. Indecision and passive play is an absolute curse to a team. So let's say I push and trade with an enemy and now it's 2v2. I can't count how many times I have seen teammates just sit back and wait for the team to push them. But the enemy team is smart. They don't push. They go, they put up a barricade on the body of the guy that I traded with, and then they get the res, so now it's a 3v2. You've got to commit to doing something, something at all. You either push, or you go for the res, or you go for controlling a better position on the map, but just sitting there and waiting to see what the enemy team is going to do will make your odds of winning much, much worse. Another thing solos often do is when they get down to the end of a round, and maybe it's a 1v1, I've seen this a lot, instead of pushing the enemy, they wait for the enemy to do something so they can react to it. But the enemy player just goes to where the cap point is, and they put a rift down, they put a barricade down, or they put trip mines on the wall. So now you're fighting a literal uphill battle where they can watch the choke points, they have the advantage of not needing to leave their position while you're forced to try to make a play against them. Indecision will kill a match faster than anything else. It also lets the enemy team generate lots of super energy, making the later rounds even harder to win. So remember, don't just be a reactive player, you need to make choices, even if they're bad ones, and commit to them. Doing that will help you make better choices in later games because you're used to being decisive and finding out what works. Okay, number 2 on the list of top 5 mistakes solos make is the overcommitment to special weapons. One of the things that we tell people, the most when we're doing trials help streams with viewers, is we always tell them, hey, pull out your primary. When we're in a 2v1, we should always team fire with primaries because that dramatically reduces the overall time to kill on the target. If I hit a headshot with my hand cannon and you land a burst with your pulse rifle, hey, this guy's gonna go down in half a second. Then we have a body to work with, and he can't possibly out DPS the two of us shooting together with primaries. But so many times I've been in a 2v1 and my solo teammate tries to land a snipe on the guy and misses. And meanwhile, this dude out-duels me. And now my teammate is in a 1v1 against a really good dueler. And he didn't land a single shot. He didn't do any damage. He put all of his eggs in that one basket with the sniper rifle. And the enemy team then collapses on my teammate because they know they have a body down. So put the dang special weapon away and just learn to fire with primaries with your teammates. Use the special weapon when you're making solo plays, when you're on flanks, you're hitting a target pushing through a choke point. But in open engagements, good players are almost always using primary weapons to team fire. But there are other situations where an overcommitment to special weapons will be a detriment for you. Just this morning, while I was banging out this solo flawless card, I had an enemy player kill my teammate out in the open, away from cover. So I went to get the revive, and the enemy player only needed to shoot me with a primary weapon to keep me from getting that revive. They didn't have to kill me, they just had to do some damage, and it would interrupt the revive, make me back off to get cover, and give them an opportunity to push me. But instead, he chose to commit to his sniper rifle. And I challenged him with my pulse with high caliber rounds, and sure enough, he got flinched off me and wasn't able to do any damage at all, which freed me up to get the revive. And now we have numbers advantage and we have overshields. So he was very easy for us to put down after that. But knowing when a primary is more useful than a special weapon is an extremely valuable skill to have. So please remember, don't be overly committed to that special weapon. Make sure you're using your primary weapon to team fire in those open engagements. All right, moving on to number 3 on our list of top 5 mistakes solos make. It's the notorious solo push. Now, I want to make an important distinction here. There's a big difference between a flank, where you go alone and initiate an engagement. There's a difference between that and a solo push. So here's an example of a flank. This is on Cauldron. I go around to the opposite door of the main room and I shoot with my primary at a player who isn't looking at me. I don't sprint into the room with no knowledge as to what the enemy is doing and where they're posted up or where they're looking. I just make a flank, I take the shots that are given to me, and I leave myself a way out if things go south. That is a flank. But this is a solo push. This guy sprints right at me and my two teammates with no cover, no knowledge of what we're up to, and leaves himself no way to get out of the engagement. So he is an easy kill. Or here you have a situation where it's a 3v1 and my teammate thinks, oh, we've got this in the bag. It's a 3 against 1. So he just apes the last guy before me and my other teammate have a chance to get set, recover health, reload our guns, etc. He just runs at the last dude and dies. This is how 3v1s get botched. It's when solos just confidently run at the last guy instead of playing slow and smart and waiting for the team fires. And when he goes down, you just know the guy is over there in his gaming chair screaming, where are my teammates? Oh, you idiots, it's a 3v1. Hey, don't be that guy. That guy's a bad player and a bad teammate. So don't do the reckless solo push. It's very rarely worth it. And if you are going to do those reckless solo pushes, then you got to make sure that you actually have a build for it. A build that centers around maybe the use of Invis, the Juggernaut Shield, Antaeus Wards, or the new Warlock Arc melee surge ability. Otherwise, don't bother. Don't do it. And on to number 4 of the top 5 mistakes that solos make. It's giving up the body. Never give up the body without a fight or a really, really good reason to do so. If you see that your teammate got a kill, even if you're in a good position with a nice snipe angle, hey, you leave. You stop what you're doing and you go cover that body with your teammate. That is now your number 1 priority. If you lose a 1v1, hey, your team is screwed and your teammate's kill is pointless. If you hold your ground, you hold your position that you like, and the enemy team leaves you and runs for the revive and outnumbers your teammate who actually got a kill, then you're screwed. So don't give up a body, especially one that your teammate secured. You stop what you're doing and you go to your teammate who got that kill and you help keep that body down. Team firing revives is a great way to even farm some additional super energy as well. Nothing you're doing is more important, I promise you that. There are very, very few exceptions to this rule. Just trust that when your teammate gets a kill, the absolute best thing you can do is drop what you're doing and go help keep that body down. And finally, that brings us to the number 5 mistake that solos make, and that's wasting your super. Your super is a crucial thing to winning competitive and trials matches. You have to know when the right time to use it is. I can't tell you how many times I've lost a match because a teammate tosses a super at a ridiculous time, or doesn't toss it at all. We could be in a comp match where we are up in the round by several points with seconds left on the clock, and there's just no shot that the enemy team is going to bring this round back. But they're already thinking about the next round instead. And my teammate decides, hey, I'm going to throw my Nova Bomb just to get one more kill on that round. A kill that means ultimately nothing. Then the next round starts, and the enemy team drops a bubble on the cap point, and we don't have a super to pop it, right? I'm running Golden Gun, which isn't a shutdown super, and now the Titans teammates just picked up all those orbs of power in the bubble to charge their supers, and they go on to sweep the next 2 rounds with their supers. And all of it could have been avoided. 3 rounds lost. All of it could have been avoided if the solo player had held onto the Nova Bomb and used it for what it's good at, and that's shutting down enemy supers, especially bubbles. Conversely, I've also seen solos hold on to their supers and not use them when they should. And this kind of goes back to the first mistake of indecision. You've got to be assertive. Think about what your super is good at and how you can leverage it to help get a round win, because that's ultimately what matters. If that super is good at shutting down enemies, hey, then save it for killing an enemy super. If that super is, a good aggressive super to take control of a position that the enemy has locked down, like a Thunder Crash, for example, hey, then you use it to fly through the choke points and be the tip of the spear for your teammates to follow you in so you can uproot the enemy and take control of the map. You've got to know what your super's utility is, what its purpose is, and you lean into that purpose and be helpful to your team. And that's it. Those are the top 5 mistakes that solos make. Think about them, remember them, write them down. And if you can make sure that you're avoiding these things, hey, then you're going to be an extremely helpful asset to your teams next season in trials and in competitive divisions, and beyond that, even into other shooters as well. I hope you found this video helpful. Feel free to leave a like on the video, only if you enjoyed it. I will let you know, heads up, I will let you know that next season expect lots of YouTube content from me. I'll be uploading a lot of competitive PvP content and tips and weapon reviews and whatnot. I'm also going to ask you for your patience as well. So I'm going to be bringing my A game with the content. I want to be high quality content that's helpful and entertaining, and I'm sort of raising my standards based on recent feedback that I've gotten here on the YouTube channel, in the comments section, and on Twitter. So the quality of the content should go up. But there's a flip side as well. I set a pretty big goal for myself to pay off my house by the end of 2023. And that means I'll probably be taking some extra sponsorships along the way. So right now I only do 1 to 2 sponsored plugs a month. And that may go up to around 4 per month. Now, that isn't really a lot in the scope of a 30-day month, but I know it will feel like a lot to some people, so please be patient with me. Ultimately, my goals are rooted in the simple fact that I provide for a wife and 2 kids, and I want them to have the absolute best life possible. So everything I do is rooted in 2 simple facts. I want to provide the best content I can for my community, and I want to provide the best life I can for the people that I love. And this increase in sponsored content and content quality is a choice I'm making to try to address both of those goals at the same time. So thank you in advance for your patience. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.